Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This is going to be the start of a little tournament that's being held on the GBG Discord, which you can get involved with there if you follow the link down below in the description. And there's 3 skill brackets in it. There's rookie, low inter, and the people are just playing games amongst themselves, and it seems to be quite a decent amount of enthusiasm for it because there seems to be a lot of games for me to go over. So we're going to be kicking things off with Grenooli versus Russianblunt, and they're going to be doing it on a mirror random here on what looks like Nova Assault. I don't know if there's any clause to not lure animals to one another, because that shit is absolutely toxic, and I would not want to suffer that. As you can see, there are rancors everywhere, so if you were to build a medic and just scoop all those boys up, have them all chase you, you just delete your medic, say, on your opponent's carbon, and now they have a million beasts to deal with and they can't mine resources. Now looking at the food on this map, seems to be a low amount of nerf, maybe 6 to 8. We've got Russian luring Flump over here, and it looks like Grenooli off to do the same. Interesting the way that the Nova can spawn here. You can see that it's almost right next to Grenooli's base. It's not very difficult for him to sort of play into the centre here if the game goes longer. And having basically infinite Nova means you can do a lot more interesting things late game with your units. Sort of maybe quickly spam like assault mechs or get Jedi out or whatever. But in this matchup they're both Wookiees, so it's probably going to be just a lot of artillery with plus range. And maybe some air cruisers or something like that, if it did go to that length. The distance between them not too much, but you are going to have to walk through bandit country here full of rancors. Certainly a nice tactical hill. It would be pleasing to have a fort built on top of there. And of course there's still holocrons as well to get Nova, but I don't know if you would even bother with all this Nova here. Looking at things, they could maybe go for Mounties. It's going to take a while to get the carbon going, because it's not a crazy amount of food that we're getting from the nurseries. It definitely needs to be subsidised with food from other sources. And I think there's only one thing of hunt, so it might actually have to start farming now. Or munch some nerfs. Could munch some nerfs and maybe sneak out the troop centre power core early. Because if you do that against someone who's just been building farms, you're probably going to get a bit of a lead there with the disruption and worker kills you might get. You can see that they both look a little bit bamboozled about what to do here with their food. Don't know if they're desperately scouting. There is all this EOPs here, but I can't imagine anyone wants to go for it, with the rancors and the Tuscats lying in wait. There is, however, this little patch up here, which Russian could have maybe gotten. It is quite a walk though. It's probably worth it if you got like 3 or 4 workers over there. They'll just sit there for a while. Get themselves housed a little bit. Food processor going down. I think I'm going to speed up just a little bit because we're going to be doing a bit of a farm off here. It takes a while. You see that Russian is eating some of his nerfs just to keep his command center going. He struggles to get all of these farms built here. Seems to value eating the trees next to his command center quite a bit, rather than just getting the workers next to the car, but they're closer. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. You see Grenooli got a lot of farms already. There's Russian onto Nova here. It's like he's got a decent amount of food, but I do worry. But now that these farms are ramping up, and Grenooli will still have his nerfs. Like a little bit of a nerf lead because he's eaten a few. Oh, just one there actually. I'm assuming we're just going T3, are we? No ambition to get any troop centres. And obviously this Nova without a troop centre would suggest that we're going to be tech level 3. So off to T2. How's Grenooli doing there? Just about. Let's even up. So we've got 15 farms. Huge amount versus 8. I think we are going to need a bit more than 8 though. And unfortunately these workers that were eating these trees have ran all the way over here now. Could probably be on the Nova. We're going for a T3. I think this is a little bit of a misplay here though in the eco, because it feels like we need more farms rather than the buildings right now, because we're only at 200 when we should probably be about 500, 600 around here. Might take a little bit of time to get up there. And I think Grenooli's going to have tons of food. Yeah, so like 500 with 4 workers good. Late onto his Nova though, and building a troop centre. So he could actually have quite a powerful T3 if this was just a Tech 2 building going to T3. I think by the time he even wrestles out some units here, Russian will be on his way. Can maybe start using the spaceport to make up the deficit in food. And building a turret. Interesting from Grenooli. I don't know if he's... Has he cancelled his Mounties? I just decided to go T3 now. That's such a shame. Because like as soon as this is done he could attack. We could just use the spaceport to get the Nova. I think he'd be ahead of Russian here. Power core going down. See, it's taking such a bloody long time to get up to 800 food. Seems he's added on some extra farms. So I think it's just important to get a sort of sense of the balance of how many farms that you need to weather that storm, because it's always going to be better to get them before the tech buildings if you're going to need them in the first place. Look at the things. Power cores are down, mech factories are live. Second turret here for Russian. I don't know if he's scouting too much. I guess he has seen a troop centre. But Grenooli's absolutely abandoned that plan. I imagine maybe with the anxiety of the tech time taking so long, like he built these buildings a long time ago before he actually clicked the button. He might be a little bit worried here and he's just playing overly safe. Hopefully the spending the sword doesn't come back to bite him, because it could be like a command centre or an anti-air turret if it's going to be like air-based play from Grenooli. See, Grenooli is just beating him to T3 here. He's dropping an airbase. Russian does see it immediately. He's going to know that that's coming. He does have workers on ore that are going to start reclaiming some of the ore that lost in these turrets. And the turret's definitely going to help out if there's some strike mechs coming his way, particularly if it's only light strike mech harassment as well. Because it's just not going to be enough DPS to weather the storm of the turrets and make it worth it. As you can see, it comes in here and the turrets are going to hit it immediately. And if you look at its health, it's already at half health. So this is going to have to find a spot where it can sit and maybe force a mech destroyer. It might be better to just redistribute these workers just now and just let it sit there. Anti-air turret. Russian playing very defensive here, like not dropped an airbase, not built any aggressive units here. Very, very defensive. Just sort of surrendering himself to soaking up the pressure here from Grenooli, who's just getting to do what he wants at the moment. What's this guy off to do? Scouting prefab. So the mech destroyer's out now, so it's cleaned up that one there that was on very low health. And Grenooli's just pulled his strike mechs away. So he's got 2 strikes here, they're getting caught by this mech destroyer out in the middle. Definitely got some hill bonus there though, making them take a little bit less damage. And with the 2 fighters going to prod here into the area that doesn't have turrets. And they can't get that turret up, unfortunately. No CCs out by either player. Should pretty much always be standard for you to get command center as soon as you hit T3, just so you can sort of double your worker production. Even more so on this map where you've ended up with a lot of farms, because you've got a good amount of food production that you can absolutely saturate both command centers. And then those new additional workers can start picking up the deficit in the other areas of your economy. I see a lot of units out for Grenooli here, just in the centre of the map. But we've got Russian here pushing it with 3 MDs. Grenooli does have some upgrades. A little bit of a complaint about the spawn next to Nova. That's certainly valid without it spawned, but you see Grenooli heading off here into the centre. Maybe to make some sort of heavy weapons factory. The Russian's chasing him here, but he's getting sort of flanked by the army. And there's 2 mech destroyers now with upgrades, a 3rd joining in, and a lot of strike mechs. And then the air is just getting free shots on these as well. And now that he's on a lower ground against a higher ground position, he doesn't want to deal with this. He needs to just use his turrets here to just soak this up. And then maybe look for Grenooli making a mistake, and he can push him back. I think Grenooli might have sold some resources there, because last I looked he was on like 200 ore, and if we look at his economy it does look very bare, but he's capitalising on this opportunity. Russian does evacuate some fighters out of the airbase here, and he does pick off Grenooli's 2 here, and he's going to lose all the workers, which unfortunately he does have 2 fighters here that could have come and helped. And this was sort of a all-in-ish play for him there, where he's just sold all his res to build this fort. He kind of wanted to get it up there. However, Russian doesn't really have anything to deal with the units, and Grenooli's actually got a fighter lead here, but we're not really pulling them across and trying to kill the fighters. Strike mech being very annoying here, which is great. Like, every worker kill that happens when you're on one command centre is quite dramatic. Because you're never actually in a positive of workers, you know, you're not building 2 at a time, you're building 1 at a time, so all you're doing is just restoring where you are. Fighters do come across here, Russian very quick to pull them back, and you're only making a little bit of a mistake there as a new fighter comes out. And a bit of dancing back and forth here. Not seeing any new workers coming across to finish off the fort. There they go now, a lot of workers now, and on one command centre as well. This is a lot of his economy that's walking across the map. But pressure's definitely on for Russian here, as a lot of farms expiring, not being replaced. The economy is not like efficiently set up to like do air, mechs, replace the farms, etc. 2 MDs out here. It's not great trade for Grenooli here. One's at half health, not being focused first, and then the other's just gone from full health down to there now. He needs to get this fortress up, and he does. And this is going to sort of pin Russian in now, and let Grenooli sort of have control of the map. But we'd like to see command centre forward into this Nova, getting up the Nova, and then just getting some heavy weapons factory, and just spam artillery. And it seems that Russian not feeling too well equipped to deal with this or push it back. I don't think the worker differences are that much. They're both 1 CC. 6 ahead for Grenooli there. It's definitely a tough task to take this fortress down now that it's up. It is of course on this ore pile. There is one here in the back though. But we'll just move on to the next game. That's his decision to move on from that one. Try and win the next one. So it seems to be Nova Assault again. And a lot more nerfs this time. And some berries and some hunts. Oh, crazy nerfs. Lots of food in a very small pond. That one spawned in the cliffs there. So looking at it, Russian's got a very defensive position here. Could wall off quite easily and feel very safe. A little more open here for Grenooli, but it's quite nice aesthetically. A lot of flat space to build farms, right up against the edge of the map as well. That'd be really nice going into the mid game. And then this command centre here, Ora and Nova together. Very nice positioning. So we're going to get all the nerfs into the nurseries first. You can see Grenooli very quick to get his Flump as well, so he's going to be roaring ahead in food. And it looks like Russian's done the same, so I think they're both going to get a very quick sort of T2 time this map as compared to last time. Not really going to be any farms required, I don't think. Because they've got the berries to fall back on after they've eaten these 2 Flumps. And the Nova's spawned a little bit better in the centre now this time, between the 2 players. But there's still many animals on the loose. And I don't know if this is forbidden or not, but I would never want to play this map were it not forbidden to lure them. Because it's just a silly, silly thing. Again, the carbon processor for these guys just eating these trees. I find it weird. I don't think this is sufficient because it's quite short distances, especially on these close forward patches. I think you might be losing carbon. Little bit of getting house there for Grenooli. Look at Russianblunt. 200 food, 3 workers queued. 1 worker queued. Well, they're very even in their food, I think. Both doing very well. I think Grenooli's being a bit unambitious here with his walls. Could be walling this little bit here, or even better out here. As you can see, there's 4 nerfs here that he's not actually picked up. So is this an 18 nerf map? Does Russian have 18? Oh, he does. So they are even in food, but that's going to start ticking away and pulling ahead. Since these 4 nerfs have not been found. It's not that intuitive to assume that the map's 18 either. The 14 is a bit of a red flag. And it looks like Russian's going to find them. I imagine they're going to start wandering across the map to Russia. Yep, so he's going to be on 22 if those make it home. And then 22 to 14 is a much more exaggerated advantage. Troop center dropping for Grenooli. Troop center already up for Russian. Mounties coming out. Power core down. And the first Mountie out and running across the map, making a beeline for Grenooli's base. As I said, these walls could just be a little bit more imaginative with them. You can get up a lot more area. Which is something you start thinking about when your gains go longer and you're fighting longer in T2 and T3. Walling out the strike next. The Mountie gets here and it's going to do quite a bit of damage to these workers, and they're quite far from the command center. With the second one now, it's going to start to snowball. As Grenooli trying to get that power core up, maybe wants to put more workers on it, because you don't want to get damaged while it's not even built yet. Surprised Russian didn't commit to that, because you could do a serious amount of damage to it. They make it very difficult to repair. Turret up here covering the carbon, but what you will note is that Grenooli's knocked off of his berries here. So he doesn't have any additional food income, and we have to remember that Russian has 22 nerfs now as well. So not only has he got 22 nerfs, he's on the berries. He is spending food on some Mounties, but now he's sent some troops across the map as well, and that's going to definitely keep him off these berries. Some trooper recruits coming out here from the troop centre, but they're absolutely surrounded, and I think that's kind of the end of him here, I think. Can't really defend the turret, only having 1 turret here. He needs to make a second one. Troopers are going to get gunned down though, which is okay. He's going to definitely start really falling behind here. Russian keeping his pressure on, upgrading his Mounties here. Second turret does finish now. Can't finish off this turret, I don't think. You can definitely play to keep him off this berries here and just get a quicker tech time. And finish him off with T3 units. Be good to see maybe a couple of workers walk across and just build a turret in this location as well. When you've got someone up against the ropes here and you force them to turtle on their carbon, you could maybe start locking down areas of their bases here. And it would be very difficult to build a turret here and then a turret here on these areas and just completely control these 3 resources and pretty much starve them out. And the only thing that'd be left to do is wall this a little bit and just farm in this area. And by then you could get a huge advantage eating all the berries. Forces of Russian are just amassing on this hill. They're going to come forward again to the berries here, see what they can do. Pick off a few workers. They have to go in awkward angles, so they're very exposed when something comes from the front. Mountie's causing a little bit of chaos on the right hand side, and there's just not enough troops here, being 1 troop centre from Grenooli. The double production is just really ramping up. Just winning the trades very, very quickly without too much casualties. I feel like you might want to try and kill this turret. It's quite low. And Grenooli won't be able to repair because you don't have any ore after making these 2. Although I think he might have actually bought some. Yeah, I think he's maybe bought 100 at the spaceport, so he does have a bit to repair. We knew that because he's made the mech factory, which costs so. So dropping some farms, but These things are going to start getting killed. Like, if he loses a spaceport, that's a big one. You don't really want to be spending extra carbon on a spaceport, and it's so handy in this circumstance where you're missing aspects of your eco. Sort of sell things around and shift it to get the amount you would need to tech up. Some troopers coming out here, and microing straight onto the troopers here, because he needs to kill those first, but with the heavy mounties and the troopers, they're just going to die. You'd have to maybe put them out here and try and count the mounties out first. Kite the mounties out first. Going to be trying to repair it here. It's going to give the troopers an opportunity to kill off some workers. And if you look at things at home now, Russian's got his buildings down, he's on his way to T3, so that advantage is pretty much activated. Got the other two nerfs housed as well. And if we look at Grenooli's eco in contrast, it's just very poor, can't get to T3, you can't just like half make troopers, and you're just sort of stuck here. And I think when the bell arrives saying that Russian's T3, that'll be the end of things, and we'll be moving on to the next game. Spaceport down, troop centre dead now. Trying to kill off some of the units, but not much hope, I'm afraid. And there's the T3. And we're still hanging on. What are these workers off to do? Build another spaceport. Airbase now, you can hear it being built. There'll be fighters coming with bombers just being sent. And GG called by Grenooli, and we will dive into the next one, so that's 1-1. And for some reason every game is on Nova Assault. I imagine it's loser picks. So it just seemed to be all about the Nova Assault. We've not had one that makes use of the centre though. Look at that nice hill at the top there. Be good fort. So, looking around this one, kind of bare food and no nerfs this time. But a few variations on the economy here. Oh, two shorefish here. Build it in the centre, buddy. Okay, go for these though. So that's really nice. You can get flumps together and some of these fishers. Good amount of food coming in. Early carbon, has to do a bit of food dropping here. Where's the second? Three flumps then, is it? Yeah, there's one here as well. That's not too bad, just no nerfs though. And new workers will have to be going to carbon surely for Grenooli. He's a little bit idle here, he's going to have to do a little bit of food dropping maybe, just to get that 40 to 50 food. And it's going to be a little bit slow since there's no nerfs sticking away to get extra food. People building prefab shelters and strategic spots. Carbon processor, here's a food processor for Russian on these berries. Maybe a little bit early while we've still got these flumps to eat though. Don't quite have 4 workers on carb yet, there we go. No, he doubled her, look at this little nerd. Wearing them both to his food processor. Eager for the flump meat. And Grenooli getting some farms already. Interesting. So you don't know about this one? Yeah. Do you not see the berries? Probably better to eat the berries first before getting the farms. A bit of manual food drop in there for Russian. Yeah, maybe just to queue up some workers. So it takes so long to deposit their food. Oh no, getting housed. Never a good look. The scouts having a bit of a skirmish up here. Interesting to see what happens in this game since they've played 2 games now. 1-1. Pressure's on. Farm's dropping now. The farm's going to be really great for them both though, since they're rebels. We get those farm bonuses. These shorefish are really nice though. It's just like it's either 200 food each, so it's 400 food gathered quite quickly. And Troop Center and Power Core dropping very early for Russian here, so I'm interested by that because we don't actually have a lot of food for teching up, and we don't have a nursery, so we can't mount to. So to me, before extra farms, this just feels a bit premature. Don't seem to be building workers. I don't know if you're maybe thinking about cutting workers there, or just reassessing how much food we actually have. But yeah, I think like about now would be the more natural time. If you've got maybe this many farms like Grenooli's done. Because you see we have to build them anyway. Nova for Grenooli here. A little bit worried for him if he does get like a bit of a rush. It's a very easy position to wall though. If we look at this. You can wall here, or here, here, here. It's not a lot when you look at it. Oh, he's done this bit. There's a gap here though. Don't like that gap. Mind the gap. So troopers hiding in here as Russian heads off to T2. Only one troop center. So he's maybe just going to do a little bit of a mini rush. See what damage you can get done with it. Since there's no troop center from Grenooli, getting housed, bloody painful. Always catches you off guard when you start making more than one thing at a time. Definitely know that feel. So 4 troopers instead of the 5. Heading over here to Grenooli's base. He's got the spaceport building, but remember there's this gap. And then there's a gap up here, so... Pretty easy for him to get in here. He's trying to sort of wall this off, delay things. Have a look at his fog of war. He definitely sees all these things. But these troopers are coming in now. He needs to quickly wall this. Prefab right here. But if you let the troopers in, they're going to kill all the workers. So the play was quickly wall it with prefab, just a tiny bit, and then suicide a few just to finish the temple. Unfortunately, he gets in here, and that's very tilting. And we're not making any contingency turrets yet. Unfortunate. That's just a lot of workers down already. And Russian will be able to just focus on building farms and head off to T3 quicker. We'll try to build a second Jedi temple. I don't have a power core yet. And this is 95, you could sneak and build it right now. Turret here. Again, we needed to have these things already, because we're only building one turret. Once it's complete, it just stands under it. It's a little bit of an unfortunate end to the series, I think. Grenooli is definitely up shit creek without a paddle here. Not really any way out of this. The temple definitely could work if it gets finished and we get a power core. You could make a Padawan to defend. Just use the spaceport to move some resources around. What it does allow you to do is double turret as well. Since it's 2 tech buildings without spending any ore. He's got T3 but with no power core. And we've no like mech factory. So we'd have to spend like 400 carbon to get an airbase and a power core. And we're rebuilding farm. We don't even have workers eating these farms, so a bit of a mistake there. We could be building the power core at least. I think things at home for Russian is going to be on his way to T3 soonish. I guess his spaceport, he seems to have mined a lot of Nova. He could just buy food and head up. Troopers here getting into a position where they can harass these workers so the turret doesn't reach them. Keep an eye on everything that Grenooli's doing here. I think really needs this prefab shelter here. Doesn't need any more houses. If it's the wall, you want a wall up here. Not seeing an out here, unfortunately. I think it's just rush into T3 and then send some air. And that's it. Almost there. We've been rebuilding a bunch of farms as well. We need carbon to build things to defend ourselves. Why do we keep building farms? Harassable farms too. Some anti-air troopers on the way. Oh dear. Might destroy no air bases, surprisingly. You must think he's got like secret air bases or something, Russian. Built an anti-air turret and everything. He's playing definitely not to lose, for sure. It's not like going for the jugular, he's just playing, making sure he doesn't lose here. Which is clever, it being 1-1. Bombers now. No anti-air for Grenooli. Well, not really anything, but really just food and carbon and workers. Yeah, a bit of a mistake there for Grenooli, but it was certainly an interesting series. It's a shame that nothing went long enough to really make use of the map's main gimmick, the Nova in the centre. But Russian takes the series. Well played, GG. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.